Question is, do you believe Gen G on the precipice of moving to the upper final in our bracket? They have wiped through Top Esports in 2 games flat, and in 65 minutes, we are now sitting here on match point as TES have to climb back for the reverse sweep. The upper bracket, such a nice run considering 2 more BO5s after this, and you are in the final with a championship trophy. I'm Mysterix, you saw Chronicler and Dagda. Together, we are the Power Rangers to see if TES can fight their way past the Demigorgon or whatever's going on.
I thought we were the boys.
We are the boys.
The boys are back
Rangers.
in town,
yes.
and we're ready to cast some games.
And
let's get into it.
We're also from Stranger Things. Let's start this off. Lucian banned blue side, because the bans are very different for TES in this game 3.
I mean, they're still sticking very much to, hey, let's try and get rid of the ASAL for Chovy. He's been an absolute menace on that pick.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't really like the fact that they tunneled Chovy onto his ear, because his ear is pretty decent, so we'll have to see what the plan is going to be, though. Kalista more than likely going to be the first pick, I would imagine, for Top Esports, though. Although, maybe looking at the Varus side of the coin instead.
Ooh. Ashe is also still open, so can just go for the double archery lane. In Raw 2v2, still the best. So we see the Kalista come through here again for pace. And we were talking about it in the break as well. It's unfortunate for Jackie and Mako because in game number 1, they were the shining light. In game number 2, they were as well, but it just doesn't really seem to matter. Lahen's also having a classic Lahens in game number 2 as the team seemingly as if he's still playing Singed, following him around to their own demise.
Carry around a speaker with yakety sax on it. Is that how it goes?
I don't pretend to understand Lahens. I've given up on that a long time ago. As again, obviously Chovy, he's just going to be like, he's blind Corky, like until someone's going to punish him. I'm sure the man's going to keep doing it.
I guess that's TS's attempt to try and punish him, right? The Maokai Tristana common matchup mid is for Cream again, something on a bit explosive through the laning phase that they can try and accelerate on.
And now you've got the Nautilus on the opposite side as well, so you can probably ban away things like the Ashe if you're very worried about it, but even if you don't, you've still got a decent answer where you can look to try and play heavily aggressive in that 2v2.
Yep.
Especially if you can get a good jungle attention, but I imagine that is going to be the focus here from Top Esports. Try and get rid of Canyon's champion pool, but we all know Canyon's champion pool is not a pool, it's a bloody ocean.
It is indeed. I mean, last game's Lee Sin still as effective as always, and the fact that you don't know what Canyon's going to pop up on next. I think something T1 in the finals had troubles with as well. Something the other day that you can say that Gen G really blasted Fnatic with as well. So let's see what gets taken away by Gen G, because they're looking at supports here. One's from Mako as well that has also been effective for his career this year.
Renata, no-brainer when you already locked in the Nautilus. For all the creative picks that Lahens plays, we know that, funnily enough, just like Kara, he just wants to play Nautilus and hook people. Man has been a really big fan of the champion, and any engage support I think becomes infinitely better when you add the Kalista. As already the Sejuani gonna get taken away. One big thing here though is that we talk a lot about the bot lane, and the bot lane has been, I think, throughout the series pretty much in favor, even when they didn't meet directly for Jackie and Mako. But the top lane has been a problem area, and I am 99% sure that Gen G is just gonna give another counter pick to Keen.
Which is why I was kind of half surprised to see Top Esports up towards blue for a 3rd time in a row. Not going towards red side, going, hey, we'll get the counter pick for 369, try and give him a little bit of leeway on that top half of the map. But it seems like they're just more focused on getting Jackie Love's comfort. And you look back at the drafts all year long, that has been the go-to for Top Esports, whether it's high priority Varus or Kalista, or just going back towards the Senna lane when they're on the red side. So not fully surprised. Ashe taken away though. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mako's Alistair coming through here.
Oh yeah.
It's great into the Nautilus, and it's something that not only does he do well on now, it's been his pick pretty much since 2015 EDG.
True. I mean, the franchise player of EDG has so many picks, but you're right, the Alistair definitely sits high amongst them historically. The Cassante banned away as well, which I'm glad to see gone after tonight. I think we all kind of realize, despite 369's performance in game 1, that pick is pretty busted right now as Jarvan comes through for the engage for Canyon.
This is also something, Canyon basically acknowledging in Gen G that it's about Jackie Love. If Jackie Love can play, we're going to be in trouble, because he's the one that mainly is going to be locked down by this Jarvan, and that combination of the package as well as the Jarvan, incredibly strong. And I actually think that, obviously, I imagine this goes towards Mako, given 369 on the Rumble hasn't always been very convincing.
Shouldn't be him.
And the Rumble is also, could have been a really good pick for Gen G. If you have double equalizer, oh, never mind. Braum actually, we talked about it a little bit earlier, insanely strong. especially if you go for the on-hit Varus. But I do think Braum kind of means that you have no engage whatsoever. Alistair, definitely a lot better in that regard.
At least you do get 369 onto the Rumble. He is undefeated 4-0 this split on the Rumble, which is going to be nice for them as well. It's been most of his career plays, honestly, this split, having only played 6 in total with a reasonably high win rate. But that is something that a lot of people were wondering if it was going to come out of the mid lane, but it is going to be the Rise counter pick into the Rumble on the top side.
Yeah, my bad on the 369 stat. That said, though, he's going to have a hell of a time playing into Keen. We already talked about Keen. He loves his counter picks, and this is one that he's pulled out so many times. I wonder if we're going to see a lane swap just because of this, because once the Rise gets going, it becomes almost impossible to play against.
Talking to some pros pre-tournament, and their opinion was something that can make map movements as well, that can respond quickly, whether it's something like the Galio at 6 or the Rise with the Realm Warp as well, that also has great push, is great for adapting to this new crazy meta win. So we get AP top laner, and Keen, I mean, has kept it spicy through the drafts in at least the first 3 games.
He's looked incredible on carries both games so far. First the Vayne, then the Twisted Fate, now the Rise as well. And as the Chronicler was saying, it's such a good pick into this Rumble. You can get so much wave control, you can keep him at bay. Because you've got that Rune Prison as well, it makes it very hard for Rumble to actually push up to get any sort of sizzle or flame on top of you. So at this stage, it feels hard to not just look and go, wait, this is the same winning formula we've seen from Gen G twice now. Surely it works the 3rd time in a row.
I mean, surely, top esports fans out there hoping that this doesn't just end here, right? Like, so far, Gen G through both early games have whittled them down. Second game a little bit less so, but it feels like it's been a mental diff. It feels like it has been a brain diff that's come through. And I know for a lot of fans out there, it might sound like a cop-out, but this truly does feel like one of the smartest League of Legends teams right now, if not the smartest, as we have seen them brain diff TES in 2 games straight.
It was a massive talking point for Gen G coming into MSI. If we have lane swaps, it feels Gen G favored. If it comes down to map play, it feels Gen G favored. And now, staring down the barrel of a 3-0, it's hard to not say it feels Gen G favored.
Listen to them. Their hope imbued here in Chengdu is Gen G. They're not hometown favorites, but they soon will be as they move up into the upper bracket if they can win this game or any of the match points as well. And a quick side note as well, that they will break history. It was talked about at the start of the show. Gen G has never beaten LPL in a BO5 in the history of internationals.
And they've come close. There was 2021 when they brought EDG to 5 games. Many people after that were like, "Whew, that was a much rougher series." And then EDG ended up winning the whole thing. Dream, Throneblade gone. Takes a little bit of damage. And then coming in last year, Gen G were one of the heavy favorites. And then they were upset by BLG, the 2nd seed of the LPL, that handily dismantled them in one of the rougher defeats that Chovy has suffered in recent times.
And you start to question then, is it going to start to be a year first then for Gen G? First time that they pick up a 4-piece ever in the LCK. First time potentially staring in the barrel of beating an LPL team. And if they are looking this strong against top esports, hard to not say, will it be the first time that we see Gen G lift that MSI trophy?
TES, so at least in this game 3, it's standard lanes. Pays and Lahen's playing it out as Jackie Love and Mako try and get 2 first. They've got some poke damage here. And it does look like they're close to hitting level 2 as you see the EXP bars, but in fact it is Lahen's who picked it up. The Ridgeline kicks off onto Jackie Love, he's ignited, he flashes away, but with Summoner down with Mako's health bar too, Pays and Lahen's hit back fast.
Oh my god, that hook! He found Jackie! Mako was trying to block, and because Jackie got hooked, it's so rough. Meanwhile, Canyon on the top side is also invading.
Yeah, I was going to say Canyon also found Tien, forced him off of Wolves, and now gets the Grump as well. So it's wins across the board for Gen G in these early stages. The confidence over the course of this series has been building, and Gen G are putting the herd on top esports in the early stages.
I mean, also, Chovy got early gold as well. The trades aren't going too bad towards mid, and as Cream jumps all in, nice interaction just shown in the pudding, isn't it? Cream just gets outspaced and Chovy continues farming with ease like he has all series.
But watch Canyon's path, he immediately abandons all of his top side, doesn't care about red buff, just wants to be down on this bottom side because he knows the only thing Tien can really do to turn this game around is go for some sort of play on the bot side, and there is a little bit of a free setup here for Mako and Jackie Love, so wouldn't be surprised to see him finish Gromp, move down into this bot side if he ends up spotting Tien on this ward, but you can see Tien going for the reset, not even going to try and attempt any sort of play.
We saw question mark pings from Top Esports on Canyon's position right now. Now again, as well, on the scuttle that's about to spawn. And not having flash is so huge, because without Jackie having flash, Canyon can go for the E-flash combo, knock him up, and basically get a guaranteed kill if they overextend. He needs to be respectful, though. This matchup becomes only better and better. Early on in particular, you need to be really careful. The Ignite of the Rumble, very happy that 369 did pick that up.
Yeah.
So it was one of the first things that we look for. That's yeah, exactly. That already gets you 1 star on the Huni scale of Rumble, which is what we in the LCK adhere to very strictly.
Maybe he's been listening, I don't know. Chovy, extreme trade again. Runs out of mana a little bit, and Cream just gets the fleet and backs off as Canyon finds Tien in his own jungle. Tries to battle him out himself as Cream will jump over and give a helping hand. The Sapling helps out as well. There's the flash, the full commit. Mid-jungle of TES off with a bang and a bang and a first blood to Cream.
Canyon gets caught in his own jungle, thinks he can step up to Tien, and that 1v1, that might be okay as Mako.
We talked about the engage. There it is on the Paze. He cleanses away before he gets struck through by Jackie Love's arrow. Heal burnt up as well. Lehens continues to trade, but Paze is the one now with no summoners, so Top Esports early game is kicking off.
Keen in trouble.
Twisted Advance kicks it off, and the second time the burn down from 369. He flashes forward as Tien gets out of the turret aggro. TES are firing on all cylinders. It will be traded in the top side here, but at least these lanes are really set up.
I thought Tien was going to get out there, had the phase rush, and felt like he was going to run out from underneath the turret, but not sure what happened. But still, big wins for Top Esports. They get the invade, get a kill, get the repeat play onto Keen on that top side. As alongside as well, this bot side, Mako, he's got a little bit of sustain in the kit, so you can see he's healing up, whereas it's Paze who's had to reset.
Even with the level 1 not going their way, they are in the end able. And again, Jarvan obviously in the 1v1 gonna feel great, but the problem here is Chovy has no mana. Canyon never should have walked up there. And even if he did have mana, it's a Corki versus a Tristana. As the bomb is ticking, Canyon knows what's up. A way for him to get out of that.
Ends up like his father and his father's father. There were 4 of them before him, or excuse me, 3. So, never met them.
Yeah, we don't
personally.
talk about the 4th.
Well, as the engage comes bot side, Lehens. No, not going to be rooted down. Instead, they go for Paze. They turn the play, the trample there. The smash back. Chakilov gets to kill the flag and drag, but it's not on a turret as Tien walks away. Maybe one shot came through in the end as Lehens still outranged. Mako. Finally, when you need this bottom lane to step up further, they'll ask how high.
And of course, it's Mako on the Alistair. This is the champion he made his namesake on in the LPL, showing up now on the international stage when Top Esports need him most.
Jackie and Mako doing well. That's not new in this series, but Tien actually being where he needs to be. That's the big difference maker. Because up until this point, we hadn't really seen him, but here, Canyon's on his way. They're looking for a gank, but because Tien is just a couple of seconds earlier, even with Lehens flashing, they're able to get the kill, but it takes so much time because their damage is gone. And then Mako with the double knock-up. Jackie Love just firing away. A big win for Top Esports.
Mako now moving up here, spots Lehens.
He's just everywhere. I mean, Lehens wanted their own mid. Trample gets a stun down, and now that the explosive cask is there, Cream just has to get on out, but as he spaces through, Jack Love now shows up to the party, gets another kill. Lehens drops on down. 3rd kill over to Jackie Love while Keen now interrupts the party. He walked on down here, still the realm warp available, gives one back to Chovy.
It's a 1-for-1, but the Void Grubs are going over towards Top Esports, which is what they're really looking for. Going to be able to finish that one off. Jackie Love also going to be cut off from connecting with his bot wave, because you can see Paze is there. I feel like we're about to have a potential 1v1 between the 280 carries, but yeah, Paze is going to back away.
Paze actually tried to set up a trap, and Jackie Love was going to walk towards him. So Paze was waiting in brush, but Jackie Love did have a vision plant, spotted Paze, and then Paze, they didn't want to take, which I think was a good call, the 1v1 that was known to the virus that is currently sitting on 3 and 0.
Yeah.
And I do think that roam from Keen is really big, because if that was another play that just goes the way of Top Esports, it would have looked really rough for Gen G. Still, sizable deficit here at 8 minutes.
because mid again is even, isn't it? I mean, it's something we've noted throughout the series. Let's watch Lehens, who Hex flashed in here without vision of top esports.
It's a good play though, but unfortunately it comes back to bite Lehens.
Big thing here is that already the bot lane of top esports was roaming up. Specifically, the arrival of Jakilov, I think, was not really something that Gen G was ready for. Just make a roaming, that's one thing. And even with the Flag and Dragon not hitting, Keen arriving just in time. And that's a kill to Chovy. That's one thing that we still need to see to what extent top esports are going to be able to deal with it, because Chovy in its alone is still doing well.
Yeah, I think this is where Chovy is definitely going to become a menace as the later this game goes on. But if top esports are able to continue this pressure with Jakilov, with Mako, that's where it's really going to throw a wrench into the works for Gen G. You can even see at the moment using that pressure on bot side to get Dragon. Cream having a significantly stronger performance against Chovy as well, feeling way more comfortable with this strong Tristan in the mid lane, something we've seen banned continuously by Gen G.
It's again the benefit of Tian finding Canyon earlier on.
Yep.
Oh, they're looking for a contest.
They are. Dreadline starts us off. I mean, Dragon still goes down. Canyon is rooted out from the sidelines here as Fade's call to bring the play back on in. Pace is getting his support out of there, but Nature's Grasp is still going to root up. Mako's here. A double knock-up in the cards, but he doesn't need to. The trample isolates Lehens. Jackie gets all the gold again, and Chengdu are finally smiling.
For the first time, it feels like top get to play their game. Continuous skirmishes here. Gen G on previous contests, they got away with it, but this time they overstep, and top esports punished them massively.
And the fact as well that you're getting this pressure on bot side, you're not going to take any towers. Tien gets to steal away a couple of camps. Going to put Canyon that little bit further behind. Cream getting played to the mid lane, but may pay for us.
Flash available though, and Canyon doesn't pull any kind of trigger. The early game for the first time in this series, going heavily in TES's fashion. 2K gold lead and plays like this that Gen G are really willing to take.
Big difference here again is that Cream has cryo. Chovy doesn't have package.
Yep.
And they feel safe because of the fact that they have, well, Lehens feel safe to go in as aggressively, but you're playing into a Mao guy. Tian just presses his R button, and that's 2 more kills being given over. And for the first time in this series, we said, not only do top get to play their own game, they're also actually utilizing the fact that Jakilov and Mako are playing amazingly.
And you're not getting these massive deficits in the solo lane. Cream doing well. 369, yes, in a bit of an unfavorable matchup, but is actually playing equal now. Having that Rumble Ultimate Avail as well means he can clear out waves without losing too much on the turrets. So overall, you can see no damage even taken on that top side turret for 369.
That's one of the things that Gen G fans are going to look toward. They've been at deficits plenty of time, still have Chovy scaling, and Keen, particularly once you hit the 2 spike of Rod of Aegis, as well as your Seraphs, he becomes an absolute monster, insanely hard to reliably take down. Hard to match in Silent, you already mentioned Hysterics as well. A lot of this has been about, can you make your impact on the map? And it's not quite the TF, but it still does a lot of the similar things.
I think the pick potential from top esports is so good though. Maybe to play off the mid lane push, but good vision. You can see from Gen G that ward just inside of River, spotting out everything that they're up to. Another ward in the pit. As we do get the TP from Joby into mid, package collected. They want to contest this.
Want to feel confident. I mean, Jakilov still has flash available. He's the one to watch with all the gold of TES. The direct line starts on Tien, disengaged there. Package gets backline, chains corruption, hit max range though. Playing front to back with Jakilov playing as Legolas. Canyon is in the middle of the pit, but uncontested for now. TES laugh at him. They stand their ground. They continue the fight. Health bars are low, but they have Mako's healing, and Jakilov's range as depth charge follows through. Lehens finds him, but again, no one can get near this big elf. Jakilov continues forward. Lehens doesn't get thrown into him. Cream starts firing too, and TES now play it. Everything burns. Cream firing away. Chovy ended that spot that we've experienced game after game after game. TES let their carries thrive.
That fight was the ebb and flow in which the river was fought. Initially, it looked so good for top esports, but Gen G slow it down. They buy time for pace to finally show up, but top esports turn it back right in their faces.
Crucially, while that started, they're down a member because initially it's a 4 versus 4. The amount of healing that Mako does is insane, and there's no follow-up in Chovy, but Cream can teleport in. So here Gen G is fighting a member down, and Pace arrives, but it's much too late when, yes, The health bars are low, but all this time the pace is walking over, cooldowns are coming back up, which means that Top Esports is ready when Gen G re-engage.
And I want to shout out Mako at the start of that fight massively.
Yeah.
The fact he wouldn't get the headbutt on the initial engage, then denies the flag and drag thanks to a pulverize as well, and then ends up forcing Canyon to use his ultimate onto members that are just not really high priority targets for Top Esports. Mako's such a key factor in that fight.
And again, you mentioned Dagda on his Alistar, his creme de la creme. No pun intended. Yeah, Cream also having a big fight. And I just couldn't keep my eyes off Jackulov because I'm like, man, no one's hitting him. This guy gets the free fire as well. But it's Cream who got an earlier kill. It's Cream who's had a better laning phase this time. It's Top Esports who've had their jungler primed and ready. As you said, Chronicler, Tien is he's playing one hell of a game this time around, and you can see Top Esports benefiting off a 3K gold lead, early objectives, 5 drubs now taken on a Tristana comp. Feels damn nice.
And I want to see Top Esports now play very aggressively for both Herald and for Dragons. You want to keep Dragons stacking because you don't ever want to give Gen G a point where to get in the game where Chovy and Keen are actually online. Right now, that's not the case. Paze is insanely weak, and contesting any of these objectives should be really hard. Herald mid to take down that mid lane turret and take full control of the map should be what Top Esports is looking towards.
The Hens is trying to respond though, immediately moving down towards this bottom side to help support Keen on that push, but Top Esports haven't gone for the Rift Herald. They're looking to counteract Gen G on this bottom side, make sure that Gen G can't get anything on the map.
Lahens is consistently engaged here, but again, the follow-up for Gen G hasn't been consistent with damage. Top Esports know that, and Mako continues to zone off, knowing he can absorb whatever they throw as 2 dragons get taken down, and luckily that Alistar has no flash, otherwise he might be in the face of them again with his bottom side turret.
Chovy has no TP, Top Esports know it, they're going for the dive.
Maybe he doesn't need it, does he? Onto Lahens, ignore that for now. Keen into the Realm Warp, he manages to get out if only just. Mako absorbs the turret while the Fates call, and rather the Tien roots twisted advance follows them downtown.
Well, this is not the greatest play, though, for Top Esports. Because of the Realm Warp, Chovy and Paze are just pushing without a care in the world.
The Hens played that so well. Hooks Mako to deny the CC onto the Rise so that then the Realm Warp goes through. Canyon investing that ultimate as well to deny any sort of follow-up, and as Chroniker highlighted, now you end up losing potentially 2 turrets off the back of that. As Gen G went out.
Jackulov doesn't pull the trigger, does he? He has no ultimate to do so. TP burned by Chovy as well, looking for the next wave, while Top Esports also congregate in the mid lane.
See the lane economy snapshot from Mastercard looking pretty good for Jackulov, but the map
Cancel.
not so much. The Hens.
Cancel again onto Lahens, but this time is he going to be so lucky? Tien zones him off as Mako continues the chase. Jackulov's damage cannot be underestimated as Lahens takes a big chunk because of this Herald now spawning that TS group up for.
TS don't want to hard commit, knowing that Pace is his ultimate, so even if you do go in hard on Lahens, probably going to just pull him out to safety anyway. Keen has his Rod of Ages finished, sitting at 4 stacks right now. Does also just hit level 11, but still not where he wants to be. Same for Chovy. So Top Esports taking the Herald. Really, really good. Got the second dragon as well. Should be able to start knocking down the rest of these outer turrets.
Tien's ultimate is about to come back up, so you can see Chovy very cautious about what's happening on this top side. Calls Canyon up there as well to try and support him. As Mako looking to try and control River with Jackulov and base. So Gen G will get to shove out this wave at least, with Keen moving in towards the mid as well. It feels like so many members of Gen G are trying to catch Top Esports as they look for these resets, but the little timing windows aren't quite syncing up for them just yet.
Nice.
Although a little bit close to comfort.
Unbelievable. Chovy wouldn't stand for that.
I know, man. How can you miss a cannon? I mean, look, Gen G, you know, the early games have been completely different.
Did we catch him in day 1 missing a cannon?
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we were actually, I remember I was joking about that he immediately would be tilted beyond belief.
Oh, true.
Can't miss cannons.
Is that the first one in his career he's missed, or?
Definitely not, no.
No.
I wish that was true. That was
It was the second one he missed.
Second,
Oh,
right.
okay,
Sorry,
okay,
thank you, Doug.
okay.
I mean, look, this is another problem with the game is while Top Esports have an early lead, and while this feels like an element of control for them in a very different state, I'm also seeing things like Corki again. I'm also seeing the Rise top as well, how side lanes are going to play out. I'm always going to keep that in the back of my mind, I think, considering how this series has gone and how fast Top Esports can continue pushing tempo of some of these plays here with the wave clear starting to come out from Chovy, adding extra range.
Tien, though, moving in towards mid, was trying to catch Genji here, at least helping Jackie Love shove in. Keen being left completely on his lonesome in this bottom side, though, and again, it's kind of coming back to bite Top Esports, where it's map wins for Genji, despite the individual leads for Top Esports, but Riptail definitely going to help out in that regard.
Keen does have TP in case they try. Mako's looking for a flank.
Realm Warp's also going to come up too, by the way. As you mentioned, Mako deep in the enemy jungle. The Herald healthy enough to get another charge, and especially if someone jumps in, which is going to be 369's turn. The wave cleared out regardless, and half the health done. The Grublings come through and just push their way through. Nevertheless, as Chovy's going to make sure that Cream doesn't get the 2-for-1 special.
So though, tower for tower, in favor for Genji, you're pretty happy with. Plus, big wave loss on the bottom side. Cream, though, here comes the TPs.
I mean, they're all committing onto this. He's got Flash of Elway and ulti. Watt gets burned as the Realm Warp as well. Everyone's moving up. Tien says, bugger that. Let's go for the bottom lane. As Jackie Love's here, we have the damage to the Phase Call. Says no more of the play. Mako pulled the trigger early, and Genji tear them apart and separate.
Big thing there is Mako does not want to give over the bounty that's on Cream, so he's the one that goes in, cancels, I think, the Realm Warp. No one on Genji actually gets to jump behind Cream, and as a result, because the Fate Skull, Lens is able to be taken out, but it's still Genji reclaiming some gold here.
And now they're just chipping away at that gold lead that they had, and this is, again, just really great play. They know someone has to go bot side to pick up that wave that has been set up by Keen, so they make the play on top side. They realize that Rumble, as soon as he shows, Rumble has to be the one to collect it because Cream is showing on top side, and Rumble has no TP, so the numbers advantage is always there for Genji.
So essentially, we owe 7 Mako for his contribution to making the play not as bad as it could have been, right? Because again, the map plays that we talked about have just shown its head for the first time. Genji minus 2k gold. It was 3k before.
Would have been really big if Keen picks up the shutdown on Cream and he becomes an unmovable monster in sideline, because Rumble is obviously not going to win against him. But look at his build as well. Already has played at Steel Caps as the Dragon is up. Top Esports looking for soul point.
It feels like they need that soul point. Chovy with a package, though, he starts poking out, but Tieni's ulti up in 5 seconds.
The Hens is in a great position, though. He's going to get the flank, and there's no vision for Top Esports.
Mako with the engage starts us off. To get Canyon would be a big win and would secure the Dragon. Dag Dimension land, ladies and gentlemen. They do indeed know that this guy's behind enemy lines, or maybe deep enough that he turns it on its head again.
He's completely bypassed the vision, though. Mako going to be trying to spot him out, but I don't think they've spotted him. Now we'll see him on that other ward.
I mean, we criticize this guy, but he's about to show up big if he gets on him, but Mako zones him off, and the Equalizer zones him out, but Genji to get blown to pieces before the fight starts. Cream jumping in, getting reset. Chovy zoned out as well. Genji are being torn apart this game. This time, it ain't going to be that 3-0. Top Esports have got the life in them as Chovy runs for his life. Finally, we're seeing signs of life from TES.
Again, Genji rather tunnel on Jackie as Chovy surely to fall eventually, or teleport coming in, even with the turret there. I don't think he's getting out his...
I mean, oh, Jesus. Well, worthwhile for a solo kill, and now Baron begins.
Not even close to the lead as Cream just able to get that, but it leads them straight to Baron. It will be the pickup, and Top Esports will forego Dragon altogether.
I don't think Genji's going to need a position to pick it up either, though. So I imagine they will just back as here. Yes, they kill Jackie Love, but because 369 and Cream are also in a decent position, it doesn't matter. Chovy actually, even with the Cataclysm, knocks them out with his Equalizer. And even though Jackie goes down and Canyon gets the shutdown, if Cream gets the free fire, you might argue he's the more threatening AD carry with the resets.
Especially with that consistent DPS coming out from the Tristana, huge there, and able to get the pick onto Chovy to finish it off as well. Tristana going to be massive. Cole popped. Navori, Quickblade, and Hexdrinker now means that it's going to be very tough for either solo laner and Genji to deal with him in a side lane.
Big thing now for Genji's, can they hold on to their inhibs? That is what is going to allow you to further stall out this game.
Yep.
Soul Pointer is still going the way with this Red Bull Baron power play. Cloud Soul, insanely tough to deal with. I think really, I mean, in LCK we've been spreading the word of Cloud Soul. It's no longer underrated. It is now properly appreciated. The movement speed makes it so hard to ever get the jump on someone.
Isn't it crazy, though, that this game started with us talking about Jackie Love with early triple kill, with early access to damage, has quickly evolved into us talking about Cream and how good he's now looking. I mean, this feels like the best game we've seen at MSI from Cream so far.
But it has been on these like limited champions, right? Like the Ari hasn't really been there, but twice now we've seen the Tristana come out, and twice he's looked absolutely incredible on it. The fact that he's able to consistently get this control in lane for himself, because let's be real, Tien and Cream aren't exactly the the star duo when it comes to mid-jungle synergy, so having that control for himself is massive, and now he's been able to lead that into aggressive plays, finding these picks, finding these plays, and Top Esports want to try and play off of him right now as they're looking for Keen.
Finding Canyon on the side, not going to work. Flag and drag as TP's burned by Chovy as well. It was Cream taking out that outer turret in the top side as trying to use this Red Bull Baron power play to its limit. A minute left to go as 369 now holds the bot side wave to set up early access.
Gen G fans going to look at this, look at Keen, level 14, Chovy level 14 as well. Desperately want those to get level 16 to try and close this out. Would it be the first time that Gen G isn't able to make it happen in the end? And Top Esports, as we already talked about as well, has a history of resilience when it comes to these best of fives.
Gen G have been defending well though. Get the push on bot side. They know the 369 has to be the one to try and go down and defend that again. And with Cream having no TP, they're just using these teleports to delay the Baron push, so you're not actually getting on towards inhibitor turrets. And Top Esports, they're trying to play off of mid into top, but Gen G have great wave clear at the moment, and there's very little that Top Esports are really getting. They probably won't even get this top turret as long as this wave doesn't. Oh wait, here comes the ult.
Grass maybe zones them out enough, Dagger. I know your suspicion there as Mako gets the engage on the turret. The equalizer massive as well. It's a hot pot here in Chengdu, but meanwhile, that hot pot's been taken apart. They don't mind the spice, Gen G, as the trade-off for the turret comes through with a big shutdown over to Page.
There's a ward in behind them. I don't know how much Gen G want to try and chase them, but looks like they're just going to take it slow for the moment.
Gen G probably looking at King sitting on a lot of gold, almost level 15 now. Chovy has finished his spear, so not going to run the risk of losing the game there. Did still have Lance's ultimate, so I was actually looking at it as well, especially with Flash. There is a lot of effective engage range. Not going to be the case. Top Esports still expand their lead, but not able to break open these inhibitors.
So this is why I was a little bit nervous about trying to go for this play, because you do have the ultimate of the Kalista, deny the Maokai ult. Yes, you get the tower, but you have to risk a lot to try and position yourself to zone Gen G away from the tower. And with the amount of ranged champions that are on Gen G, they can fight from afar as you are trying to deal with the tower without having to put themselves in harm's way. So a little bit risky from Top Esports. They do get the tower at least, but still gives some gold over to Gen G.
It feels right to start talking about this final Dragon then in 1 minute 40. The Dragon that, again, you guys in the LCK consistently talk about being a little bit too good. 1 minute 30 now, and those items you mentioned are sitting back on the beginning of a Banshee's Veil there for Keen up in the top side. More importantly as well, Chovy at 3 and a bit items himself too. And I can't put it past him. It's tormenting me a bit, Chronicler. The fact that Gen G are still trying to make plays like this on the 369. I mean, Keen can't be killed. The equalizer comes down, but Canyon just drops his own in the pot. He will be traded off as Cream is DP'd in. And it's free Berg. He ults away Chovy, the creme de la creme of the Oh my God! He's finally arrived. Cream is feeling himself in the heart of Gen G. Top Esports can't be stopped.
Cream needed to step up for Top Esports. He needed to find some way to put down Chovy. And what a play from the Top Esports mid laner.
That's a 3-for-1 play. Top Esports might try it. Maybe this is what opens up the base. Maybe if Pays and Lands overstep, they're not that strong. Might even look towards the end.
Oh, maybe. I mean, Top Esports charge in, and Cream is the damage dealer, but he hovers on the side. Rocket jumps in. One play from the international rookie, and the base is cracked.
And for Cream, this means so much to be able to play in Chengdu. A guy who came up with Oh My Dreams, OMG's academy team, who had dreams of playing in the OMG arena here in Chengdu, but was never given that opportunity because the stadium was lost before he got promoted. And now making plays like this here in an arena that he would have loved to show off in the OMG colors.
Big thing here is how tanky and how much damage he 369 rather still does and takes. Then Cream ults away Chovy, meaning he can't do any damage, then goes in, gets the reset, and the explosion is what actually ends up killing Keen. Gen G have started the Baron?
What? Okay, we come back to life. Let's go for round 2. Cream is the one we must watch, but Chovy with package. Engage on the backline. Mako can't find it, but sends Pays outwards. As 369 is just burning him alive. Gen G have lost their 80 carry in a 5 versus 4. Baron stops. Package still there. Chovy still flashes in, makes the hot pot round, but as he runs through, he's getting zoned out by 369.
That's it!
Cream is the better mid laner within this game. Lahez, run for your life.
Triple kill for Cream to finish it off for Top Esports. It looked done, and they looked like they were out, but Top Esports bounce back.
I'm sitting here starting to believe, starting to look towards Gen G from the heavens, but down there, burning through, it's still Top Esports in the mud, through the fires of hell. They'll make sure they go through damnation before they drop this series.
Jakilov and Mako have been great all series, but it wasn't about them, it was about Cream and Tien. Tien making the early impact that he wasn't able to in the last couple of games, found Canyon early, and that started off the Goomba stomping chain of Cream going absolutely ham on Gen G.
Same for Mako, the fact that he gets so much control in his bot side on his signature pick of the Alistair, to lean it in towards mid, to work with Tien, to set up Cream. What a performance from Top Esports.
Man, seeing Tien alive, enabling Cream, enabling the bottom lane, like, I feel like a lot of the time with TES, we talk about their conditions with what Tien brings to the table. I'm sure the analyst desk can explain it better as we throw it over to them to start cooking up this series. Reverse sweep, I told you. I told you.
Calm down.
Not yet.
But I don't know what we're going to see. What are you holding up?
I'm just holding up the fan signs for
Oh.
TES. Yeah.
Now that they're back in it, you're like, hey, I got this.
I love mid-prio.
Yeah, why did you write that down in accordance to this victory, this very convincing victory for TES?
You know what champ gives you mid lane pressure?
Tristana!
Tristana! Yeah, so I think the big thing that we talked about that was missing, and the big thing that Gen G were playing around super, super well in the first two games, because TES's bot lane were actually still doing really well in both games, but it was that mid pressure, right? It was Cream not being able to have pressure in mid, and Gen G playing around Chovy's pressure, and I think this game, this is a big difference maker.
It was.
And then we eventually saw Cream pop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think without the mid-prio, they don't win this game. Another thing that they don't win this game without is Jakilov and Mako. Like, they won lane in the other games, and they won lane in this game.
In
They
this
absolutely
game, yeah.
steamrolled ahead of Gen G. And
Aw.
this was something we talked about before the series. Like, the matchup differences should favor the TES bot lane and should favor Chovy in the mid lane for Gen G, and which side is going to carry harder. And in this game, it was definitely the TES side that carried harder. I'd say Cream got kills later, but the early game was dominated by Jackie and Mako.
Yeah, and that's where I want to call out, obviously, they already called it on cast, this Alistar for Mako. He's been playing it for so long. It is a pick he is absolutely incredible on if you watch the way he plays out these team fights and who he ends up targeting. Jakilov can just absolutely fire from the backline along with the CC from the Maokai ult, as we saw there. And I think the big thing, again, to reiterate why people were so excited for this TES roster is this bot lane, right? Jakilov finally got a support was kind of what everyone was saying. But then also, I want to call it the Mako side of it, right? Because Mako was always asked to be the primary engage for his team regardless, no matter what. With this TES team, he actually does not have to. He can just sit back and play his game with Jakilov, and I love watching them together as a duo because they're so strong.
Yeah, it's working out so well, the synergy in lane, also the way Mako can influence the map, get those fights going, and then of course also set up the mid laner. It's always going to be a hard matchup versus Chovy, but it is a good example of how with mid prio and with different approaches, you don't necessarily have to go head to head with him all the time.
For sure, and I feel like at the end of this game, Cream kind of had his moment, and even though he'd already had a good game to this point, this type of play might be able to infuse him with more confidence to play later, because like it is such a Herculean task to lane against Chovy, and it's not like he's going to magically be able to CS exactly as well, but if he can play aggressive enough against Chovy, they can get mid-prio more later in the series and actually have a chance to come back.
Yeah, and I think you saw a few glimpses of how Gen G would come back, right? Like they can play with Fog and the poke coming out of this Corki, who still did more damage than any other champion in the game, by the way. But I think this was a really nice comeback to see from Top Esports, them being able to set up these early skirmishes, play out the game the way they wanted, and then it makes such a difference when they actually have tempo on the map and you see them being able to go for these plays, right? Because then you're like, oh, okay, finally, like, this is the team that I wanted to see, that we saw have such success in LPL.
What did you think of the flashing of the Team Liquid emote?
I don't know.
What was it about? Was it hey, APA, thank you?
I'm guessing it was because the Tristana was something they picked up from Team Liquid and APA.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to believe that version
Yeah.
of things.
I mean, if you pay attention, and this is pretty useless, but if you pay attention, I think you can see why people get certain picks. Like when they get this Tristana, I do think that was from APA. When tried to play Rek'Sai, I think he got that from Yike. And usually the people who play the picks that they got from someone else, it usually falls flat on its face, like it did with Umty's Rek'Sai. But not in this case. Tristana's an easier champion.
Yes, I was trying to... Someone was talking in my ear. You didn't say yikes, Rek'Sai, right? Did
Yeah,
it
I
fall
did.
flat?
I mean, this is why I said it's useless, because I'm talking about it completely.
Okay, sorry. I was confused. I was thought you were trying to bait me. Oh my God, let's get back on points. Being that TES has won one game, but that means Gen.G is still on match points. They have taken the first steps into this. How do they replicate that? And for Gen.G, how do they repel if this is going to continue to be the approach from TES?
Yeah, I mean, you really want to rely on your top side, right? Obviously, Keen, they called it out on cast, the Rise counter pick into the Rumble, right?
Old school.
This is something that he has played before. Rise is a champion he's very, very familiar with. Did not work out in this game. I thought you kind of saw Mako really being able to target, especially around the way they wanted to play around Rise ults. Go back to the drawing board. I think even in this game, again, you saw the ability, if they have a setup, to be able to poke from Fog and kind of whittle TES down. At that point in the game, TES were strong enough they could just engage onto them and still win the team fight. But I think that's where it comes for Gen.G, is just they really do want to slow the pace of the game down.
Yeah.
Be able to control their side lanes better than TES, because again, we talk about how each of these teams are smart in the mid game. Through Gen.G, I think it's through their map control and their map play and their cross mapping. Through TES, it's sometimes through really smart lane assignments and being able to find strong points of being able to initiate skirmishes.
Yeah, for me, I would say Pace had 3 fine games and two fine games and one
like, wow, you're already
really bad game.
Yeah.
So preventing that, I think, is actually at the top of their priority list, and I think that is why Mata possibly was so passionately speaking to them a couple minutes ago that we saw on screen. Because I think, to Emily's point, Gen.G, if they're in an even game state, I think has an advantage. So being able to just absorb whatever Jackie and Mako were throwing at them in lane phase is going to be their best chance. And that could mean going back to something like Aphelios Lulu, so they don't get, like, when the Callisto Nautilus falls behind, it doesn't have great ways to jump back in the game against Jackie Love. But I think Blue Side's going to be big for that as well, because you just have way more flexibility around controlling the bot lane. So
Yeah, you
I think they're in a
absolutely
good
do.
spot.
Yeah, like they have more flexibility around power picks and draft. I also think they'll make sure that they do have mid prio, because again, like, obviously Chovy, I love mid prio. Obviously Chovy is an incredible laner, right? And I think
You don't say.
the big evolution of him of a player has been how he is able to play the map. So not only is he a laning god, but he has such a stronger understanding of where he needs to be on the map. And Gen.G specifically know how to play around that pressure really well. You could even see it in the Canyon invade, right? Where it felt almost like he was so used to having pressure there. When he didn't, they were able to rotate in and like, or not, it was a TES invade, sorry. But they were able to rotate in and kill him, right? So, yeah.
Okay, we have the ingredients, we have the possibilities. My gut tells me that we're going to a game 5, but I've been wrong before, because I also thought that last series. But
Well, I thought this was going to be a wrap. I thought it was 3-0.
Yeah.
And then TES has already surprised me a little bit.
and very convincingly, and I think they can do it again. We'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back with game 4 between TES and Gen.G.